Alright, so imagine this. You pick up a phone that looks like it is trying to quietly slide into the flagship club without making too much noise, but the moment you turn it on, it kind of starts flexing in subtle ways that make you stop and pay attention. That is exactly the vibe I got with the Vivo V70, and honestly, I did not expect it to feel this refined. Before we go any further, if you enjoy deep hands-on tech reviews like this where we actually break down what matters in real-life usage, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and drop a like so you do not miss future videos because this one is worth your time. Now let us talk about the first impression because this is where Vivo clearly changed the direction a bit. The V70 feels smaller in the hand compared to its predecessor, and that alone changes the experience more than you might expect. It is slimmer, lighter, and the flat display makes it feel more modern and controlled instead of overly curved and slippery. The build quality also steps up with an aluminum frame and a choice between glass or reinforced back. And in hand, it feels like a device that is aiming for that premium mid-flagship identity rather than just being another V-series refresh. What really stands out, though, is how polished the design feels. Vivo has clearly taken inspiration from their higher-end lineup, and you can see that influence in the clean edges, the refined camera placement, and the overall symmetry. It is not loud, it is not flashy, but it has that quiet confidence that a lot of phones in this price range try to achieve but do not quite get right. Now before we dive deeper, quick reminder, if you are enjoying this breakdown so far, subscribe and like the video because I am going to be testing everything from gaming to camera to battery and real usage, and you do not want to miss the verdict. Moving on to the display, this is one of those areas where the V70 genuinely surprises you. You are getting a 6.59-inch AMOLED panel with a very high resolution and a smooth 120Hz refresh rate. But numbers aside, what matters is how it feels in daily use. It is bright, extremely bright actually, to the point where outdoor visibility is not even something you think about anymore. Colors are punchy without going overboard, and the flat design makes scrolling and typing feel more precise compared to curved panels. Watching content on it is honestly a good experience. HDR support kicks in nicely, contrast is deep, and the overall tuning feels like Vivo is trying to balance entertainment and accuracy instead of just pushing saturation like some competitors do. It is not trying to be the absolute best display in the world, but it is definitely punching above its segment. Now, performance is where things get interesting. The Snapdragon 7 Gen 4 inside the V70 is not a massive generational jump on paper if you are coming from the last model, but in real-world usage it feels stable and consistent. Apps open quickly, multitasking is smooth, and the phone does not feel like it is struggling under normal heavy usage. It is not a gaming monster flagship chip, but it is tuned really well for sustained performance, which is something Vivo usually focuses on. Gaming performance is solid for most popular titles. You can push high settings in many games and still get stable frame rates, and what I really noticed is the thermal management. The phone stays controlled rather than getting uncomfortably hot, which makes longer sessions more reliable. So it is less about peak power and more about consistent experience, and that is actually a smart direction for this phone. Let us talk cameras because this is where Vivo usually tries to make its biggest statement, and the V70 continues that tradition. On the back, you get a triple camera setup with a strong main sensor, a proper telephoto lens, and an ultra-wide. The main camera delivers sharp, detailed shots with a very natural color tone in good lighting. It does not feel overly processed, which is refreshing in this segment. The telephoto camera is where things get more exciting. You are getting optical zoom that actually feels usable in real life, not just a gimmick. Portrait shots especially benefit from this because you get better separation and more natural depth. Even at moderate zoom levels, the detail retention is impressive. Low light performance is also improved with better stabilization and processing. It is not flagship-level night photography, but it is very dependable, which is what most people actually need. The ultra-wide is fine for casual shots. Not the star of the show, but it gets the job done. The selfie camera deserves a mention too because Vivo clearly pushed for better clarity and dynamic range here. Video calls and selfies come out sharp and well-balanced, and if you are someone who creates content on the front camera, this will not disappoint. Now here is a point where I actually want to pause and say something important. If you are still watching, it probably means you care about whether this phone is actually worth your money. So let me know in the comments what phone you are currently using and I will try to compare it directly with the V70 for you. Battery life is another strong area. You are getting a large capacity battery, and in real-world usage it easily lasts a full day and sometimes more depending on how heavy you are. The combination of efficient chipset and software tuning really helps here. And when you do need to charge it, the fast charging support is genuinely fast. You plug it in, take a short break, and you are already back at a usable percentage. There is also smart charging behavior that helps reduce stress on the battery over time. Software experience is very Vivo-like, smooth, clean, and full of features without feeling overwhelming. It is not stock Android, but it is refined enough that you get used to it quickly. Animations are fluid, multitasking is well handled, and overall it feels like a polished system rather than something cluttered. One thing I appreciate is that Vivo did not just throw random upgrades at this phone. Instead, it feels like a focused refinement. Better design, improved cameras, more consistent performance, and stronger battery life. Even the unboxing experience is solid with a charger and case included, which is always a nice touch in a world where many brands are cutting back. Now, if I zoom out and think about the V70 as a whole, this is not a revolutionary phone. It is not trying to completely redefine the segment. Instead, it is trying to perfect what already worked, and in many ways it succeeds. The design feels more premium, the cameras are more reliable, the display is excellent, and the performance is stable for everyday users and even gamers who are not chasing extreme settings. Of course, it is not perfect. There are competitors in this price range that might offer slightly different strengths depending on what you care about, whether that is raw gaming power or ultra-aggressive pricing. But the V70 sits in that sweet spot where everything is balanced and nothing feels neglected. So the real question is, should you buy it? If you want a phone that feels premium in the hand, takes consistently good photos, has strong battery life, and delivers a smooth everyday experience without trying to be overly complicated, then yes, this is a very easy recommendation. And if you are still here with me, that means you are probably seriously considering this phone or at least curious about how it stacks up against others. So do not forget to subscribe and like the video because I am going to be comparing this directly with other major phones in this category very soon, and you will want to see that before you make a decision. At the end of the day, the Vivo V70 feels like one of those phones that does not scream for attention but quietly earns it the more you use it. And sometimes that is exactly what makes a phone worth buying.